Okay, so we are technically live. Do it live! Let me do it live! Alright. Good. So as people at home can see, there is not much going on here right now. We're really waiting for people to meander in. Hopefully they will. We have 2 viewers. Thank you for joining us. We wish you were here in person instead. That would be our preference, of course. Some of you may not have known we were meeting live at our normal location. If you read the website, you'll see that it tells you that we're meeting in person. So you would have known that. Anywho, anything so far?
The chocolate bourbon is a bit much.
Oh yeah, like I said, and you know what? Most of the soaps don't smell that.
Yeah, this is the aftershave stuff.
Right, so it's pretty potent stuff. Dennis, how are you?
Oh, Michael, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for showing up. I'm just trying to figure out. Actually, I need to pull up. I was going to do a presentation, but if there's not enough people here, it doesn't make sense to really do a presentation.
Was it hard to do a presentation for a small group?
No, but you know, if you don't have enough eyes, then it doesn't make sense to present a whole. I mean, I guess I can.
What's it on?
It's on reading the solar propagation.
I'd say go for it.
Let me see if I have it. I figured if nobody had anything else, then this would be a good. This would be good.
There's 5 of us. That's 1/4 of what we sometimes have.
Yeah, pretty much.
Probably more like 1/3.
How many people are sitting in your driveway?
Nobody else.
You know, I was wondering the same thing. I should actually text my wife and find out if anybody's sitting in my driveway with the chair. As a matter of fact, I'd better do that now.
Yeah, that's a real possibility. And where are you guys?
I decided to check the website to see what is up.
That's a
Hello.
novel idea. David? Evening, I guess it is.
Close.
Depends on where you live. When I was in Alabama, anything after 12 o'clock noon was evening.
That's because the sun goes down earlier.
That's a
there.
different planet, though.
Sun goes down earlier there. That's why.
Different planet, different century.
And they have dinner and supper, right?
Yeah, oh yeah, dinner is your noon meal, whether that's in a bag, a sandwich in a bag, or sit down there, whatever it is, that's dinner. And then supper's at night, yeah. Yeah, that's for sure.
Drinking all afternoon?
What's that?
You weren't hungry after drinking beer all afternoon?
No, I didn't really drink beer too often, once in a while.
So I did not open the Zoom because I figured, you know what, we don't need a Zoom if we have this here. Also, well, I guess the meeting kind of started, I suppose. I made a new check-in sheet, so I'll tell you what, let me see if I have an extra pen here. I think all my pens are.
John, did you get your mobile done?
No. Got it started.
What was it? Was it
I
this
got
morning?
tables in the back seat.
This morning was like really cool.
I know.
I was thinking, oh.
I know.
So sign to the left of your name, the left of your name.
Okay, right next to your name.
Yes, right next to your name, on the left. Very good, John. You got it. Just in case, I'll include a pen. Hopefully it'll come back. So that's actually the most current, up-to-date members list. So if you're interested to see who's in the club, of course we have a brand new member once again in celebration of Chris's call sign. John, or Null as we call him, is now AI6W instead of AD5RX. He was shamed into changing his call signs to a 6 call instead
Alright.
of a
I
5.
like Chris's so much, I doubled the U and
Yeah, right.
called it good.
You like Chris so much, you doubled the
Say the
U.
following.
I like that. You doubled the U.
AI6W.
Yeah.
W
Yeah.
or W?
W.
W.
Right. Yeah, yeah, not.
Not yet.
Yeah, that gets a little.
Yeah, that is confusing.
Yeah, that is a little confusing. I should be
Yeah, it could be UU.
Yeah.
I'm gonna-
W.
So I don't know.
That's good, I wish more people would do that.
So I have canceled our Zoom account, so we no longer pay $15 a month for Zoom. That's good. And actually be here, it doesn't make sense to be paying for it. The only thing that's going to affect is how many people we can have in a Zoom meeting and for how long. So you can have up to, I think now they're saying up to 100 people, but only till 40 minutes. And then after that, I don't know if they kick them all off or they just shut the meeting down. I don't know what they do. So I have, and then the other thing that is probably the most difficult part about it, I guess, is you no longer, I'm about to find out, get a personal ID so that the Zoom meeting can always be at the same location. Because if you don't pay, you don't own the Zoom number, so you have to, you have to create a new number for every meeting that you're going to do. So I'm about to see if, in fact, I can start a meeting. So no one's in the
See
driveway.
what happens after 40 minutes?
Yeah, we might as well. I can do that and figure out how to add a meeting. I'm just going to say schedule a meeting for in person, and that's today, right now. So let me see if it'll let me. Yeah, 7 p.m. And I'll save that, and then I'll open it and see what happens. It's either going to let me or it's not. Okay. Change the meeting ID. Yeah, the meeting ID is different. So let me see if I can edit the meeting ID and force it to our old ID number. You may be able to do that. No, you can't. Okay, well, how about that? Oh, interesting. When I click, let me just change the starting time to 7:15 and see if it'll let me save. Now, when I click on the meeting ID that we have, it doesn't let me save it. I'm going to try to make a new one and see what happens if I do that. Oh, now this time it will. Interesting. I just couldn't edit the ID number. So, in person, this will be interesting. Let's see what it does. Oh, again. Let me click on it this time, but not letting me not letting me save. Let me move it to 7:15 and see if that's what the problem is.
Yeah, that's why some Zoom meetings just send you a new number each time they have a meeting.
You know what? Maybe it doesn't like what it's called. Let's see. For some reason, I'm still not getting the save button. Duration. We'll say 2 hours. Oh, I forgot to plug in my power. I just noticed we're getting a little low on the battery. That explains why. I'm gonna plug it. That's what they call it. Plug it. can put your finger in there and
Figure out the spot.
figure out the spot, because you have that 50-50 chance of plugging your finger into the pot as you're feeling it, thinking you're in the right spot.
It's called doing it Braille style.
Yeah. I should be leaving that to Chris here. Just plug my computer in. Okay. Alright, there we go. So, interesting. Maybe I can't have multiple meetings at one time. So, let me see. That could be what's going on.
What do you mean mobile?
Because I made one and then I had to try to make a new one. So I was thinking maybe it.
Maybe trying to do two of them at once.
Right. Although, it's not letting me hit the save button at all. Let me see, maybe I need to give it more time here. No, that doesn't seem to matter either. I figure we have time in case people are. Your schedule settings have been synced from your web portal. Today. Oh, okay, so it says I have a 40-minute limit. That's the first thing that comes up. So I'll say 40 minutes. Oh, funny. They give you choices of 30 minutes or 45 minutes. Let's see, video, participants, computer audio. Don't care about the calendar. I don't need any. Allow to join any time. Interesting. Now I can't even save anything. Well, this is turning out to be really bad. You know, it's like I said, I wasn't planning to even do a Zoom meeting because everybody is capable of.
They can always do it on YouTube, right? Are you doing YouTube?
Oh, it's already broadcasting on YouTube. We're live on YouTube right now.
Well, that's good, right?
Yeah. I'm just trying to figure out why Zoom won't let me create a new meeting.
Yeah, here we are.
Yeah, we're live. We've been live since 7. So that's not an issue. I'm just trying to figure out what it is that I'm doing wrong.
There's one watching right now.
Yes,
It's probably me.
but he's no, I can tell you if there's more. Let me see.
That's gotta be counting you.
Yeah,
Well-
probably is.
Well,
We had 2.
technically I'm not because I don't have it open. I'm just scrolling, but it does come up live.
Oh, right. Yeah, I can see how many participants there are. So.
Where's the camera?
Camera's up here.
Oh.
And then there's one on my face now.
There's one on your face?
Yeah, I'm in the bottom left corner, which is another thing that I was trying to do was try to move me out of the corner. Nobody puts baby in the corner. Nobody knows that, I'm sure. Okay. Yeah, that's really weird. Maybe it doesn't seem likely, but maybe you can't schedule a meeting? I'm gonna delete these things here. I apparently have a bunch of recordings. So, anybody have any exciting DX they've worked on the air?
Does it have to be CW?
No, I suppose not.
I had a contact.
Doesn't count. You got a contact.
No, I got two DX stations. That one guy, again, if you're okay, I channel surf. I do that occasionally.
Oh, so you're on 60 meters.
No. But, well, the day that John came over to help me put the call-in station together, which is a whole nother deal I'm working on.
It's a whole
Which
other
is
presentation.
got a lot of drama involved. That'll be a presentation once I get it figured.
Right.
But anyways, John had left, middle of the afternoon, and I was kind of dinking around in the garage and whatever, and this big old station comes in, beautiful sounding receiver, and it's a Barcelona station, and he's working 20 meters. And so, I'm not set up for transmit yet because we couldn't get the power where we wanted it, and I didn't want to mess with that, so I shut that off. I ran the coax back on the end fed
Oh,
antenna.
that's
I basically was borrowing this end fed antenna
You don't have to knock, just come in.
that's set up for my station. And so then I ran in and put on my other station, and I made the contact right away to Barcelona.
Wow.
Yeah, it was like right away. It was like, God, this is cool. How did that happen? Anyway, and that was it. And I shut that off, and I went back in the garage. And then I got another contact with a guy in New Zealand. And
I've
that-
never done New Zealand.
Did you
You've
hear of
never
New
worked in New
station?
Zealand?
No.
Really?
Or down under at all.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
That's like the easiest stuff to get. It's every day
I've done
you hear.
Cuba.
Yeah.
I've done France.
So that was it. Those
Yeah,
are my
Cuba's
two-
is that
Those are
kind of-
my stories.
Nice.
Which again, I wasn't even trying to do it. I was listening on the other station. I'd hear them come through, and then I would shift over.
I did that at 20 meters one time on the buddy pole,
Yeah.
and it's coming in 599.
Oh, it's remarkable right now. It is.
Well, this was a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Well, then I guess the presentation is apropos then.
Yeah. Presentation will better.
If you decide you actually want to use it.
Well, yeah, just a lot to haul.
Right.
Once I get it all figured out,
Okay, so
it's got a beautiful receive line. I mean,
which one is it?
The 75S3 receiver, the Collins.
Oh, the Collins, yeah.
And the
Mhm.
receiver, and again.
Well, you know what it is back then, they boosted the RF gain. So instead of 50 microvolts being S9, it was something like 25 or 23 microvolts was S9. So the gain, like on a 10-tech, was just pegged as hard as they could go, and you had to turn down the RF gain, otherwise you had so much noise for it, it was ridiculous.
Mhm.
The sensitivity was not as sensitive back then. They're not like a minus 141 like they are today. They were probably like, well, we could look it up, but I think the Sherwood report would have it, and my guess, and it's just a guess of course, is going to be that it's probably around minus 90 or 110 at most.
Yeah. For some reason, though, I don't know what the correct word is for this, but I'll just say the sound. There's a sound associated with it.
Yes,
on the-
it's a ballsy sound.
It's just this rich, warm sound. It's like, wow,
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm just experimenting, and I try to turn it on every day for a little while, but this is an S-line station that I'm putting together. It's a Collins tube radio. And so I had the idea, somewhat impulsively, to buy this station. And there was some drama associated with it I'm still dealing with, because when it got shipped, the amp didn't get any care. And so it's had to go in the shop for some repair work when I'm waiting for UPS to pay on the damage claim. But anyways, John came over to the house a couple Saturdays ago, and we just put it all out on the table, each piece, and started putting it together, checking it out, and then John was getting it dialed in terms of tuning it so that we could transmit.
Which one is it? It's in our what?
Okay, so it's the 75S3 receiver, and it's the 32S3 transmitter.
Okay.
Those two
Well,
pieces.
we only need to know the.
Yeah, the
So it's an
receiver.
S3, 75S3.
Yeah.
Now there was a C and a B version.
Yeah, this one doesn't have any letters that I know of.
It's probably the B then,
Yeah,
because that was the. Oh no, here we go. It's the wing maybe.
it is a wing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So actually, I was incorrect by a long shot. The noise floor is actually at minus 145. As a matter of fact, let's do this. Let me go here real quick and change this window so you guys can see what I'm looking at. So, oh, it was supposed to be there. Oh, I never hit it yet. There you go. No, that was supposed to, oh, maybe it's turned on. No, still. Hang on, let me see why it's doing that. Receiver data, that's fine. It's, oh, I see. Because I need to actually put that over there.
Oh, this is the Sherwood report.
Right, Sherwood.
Oh, look at that, that's it right there.
Yes, it is.
That's the one.
Let me switch it for the people on YouTube so that they can see. I need to switch
Can you
this.
make the screen bigger so we can see it? Like make it 70 inch or something?
Sure. Yeah, let me zoom into the screen. Okay, so looking at this, I could probably zoom the actual screen itself. Let me.
I'll make that work.
Well, let me get it done first. I gotta find the cursor. There we go. Now let's go find it. There we go. How's that? Can you read that over there now?
I see there's numbers.
Really? It's still not enough for you.
Yeah, I can see that now. Yeah.
It's that middle one with the yellow here.
Yeah,
I don't know bigger.
yeah.
Listen, let's get it so Dennis can read it.
Well,
You can't get it that big.
the issue is that the contrast there, that's good. The contrast between the background and the foreground is not great enough according to ADA.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay, my apologies. We'll work on it. So, okay, it has a minus 140. Oh, that's the 3. There was the non-3 version down here. Let's see. Of course, it doesn't rate the highest for IMD intermod distortion or 100 kilohertz separation, which puts it way down at the bottom of the list compared to most of the others. Oh no, that's the 380. Where'd it go? It's down here. There it is. So 145 down. Pretty good. And then let's see, 105. We can see. Let me highlight this so we can come back to it, because now I've got it so big I don't know what everything is. Okay, there's your 100 hertz blocking. And then here's the sensitivity. So 100 hertz blocking is not available because it doesn't do it. But 105 is pretty good there. I mean, it's not the best, but it's within average. Let's see, what else do we have here? 75. 75 is... Okay, so there's your dynamic range, and yeah, so there's your dynamic range spacing.
I don't think you highlighted it.
What's that?
Lost the call for growth.
So you don't have the greatest blocking on the thing. 75 dB, 100 kilohertz spacing, as opposed to, you know, some of these radios now with 120. So, you know, your near signal stations are going to be overwhelming. So you have to, you really have to crank down that RF gain if you have a loud signal near it. But you know, you got your pre-selector, and that's gives you the ability to do a Q filter so that you can narrow in. There's probably a knob that cues it, so that's your pre-selector. And then, but these two numbers here are really important. So your dynamic spacing and your noise floor.
Can you bring up an image of the face of it?
Sure.
Yeah, because that'll show you the different features.
Well, let's just do this here, just to get back to something more decent. Let me just see here. This isn't at all. Choose a new so you have a 75,
S3.
a 75, no, I will, but I'm just saying, you have a 75 dB filtering. So, you know, it's not the biggest blocking filter there is, but what, does it have crystals in it, or what?
It does, yeah.
So it probably is dependent on what crystals are in there, I imagine. But it looks like they're probably 5-pole filters, and it's not a crystal lattice filter. So this is the Collins 70, what is it again?
75S3.
75S3. And then we'll go to images, and we'll be able to pull up any of these here. So
Yeah, wow, that's good.
this one here, I'll do it now. Try to find my-
Yeah, that one.
There we go.
Yeah. So see that, oh, that's a B though.
Oh, is that different than what you have?
Yeah, a little, maybe a little bit.
Let's see if we can, here's the S.
No, one below it. There you go. Yeah. So see, it's got that, where's that?
Oh, it's,
There you go. So that rejection tuning.
yeah, the
You know,
pre-selected.
when I have it
or-
all the way to off,
Oh, yeah.
you know, you hear everything, right?
Right.
And I start to move it up, and it covers one, you know, it seems like it's lower pitched, and I go further to the right, it's higher pitched, but it's rejecting.
We're gonna make it just a tiny bit smaller for the people
Yeah.
online so they can actually see it.
Yeah.
Because they're not seeing the whole image because it's so.
And that BFO is interesting because I found out, this was really weird, you know, it's a brand new used radio, so I'm thinking, what's wrong with this thing that's supposed to be in perfect condition, right? And so I'm in upper sideband, and I'm using that BFO, and it's gotta be at +1, and that's the same thing it was for the CW when John and I were doing it. He told me about that, right? So I'm at +1, and then I go to 40 meters lower sideband, leaving it at the +1, and I couldn't get anything to tune on lower sideband.
Go minus one.
And so what I ended up doing, and I just by accident, I'm moving that thing around, and I go to -3.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah, all the way to -3, and then everything was coming in clear. And then another time I go on there, 40 meters, and it was -1. So I don't know what's the deal with all this, you know. And I got this, by the way, just so I can learn. It's a learning process because I don't know anything about this at all. That's when I told John, and I asked John if he would help me because he's familiar with this back in the day. And so he said, yeah, come on, we'll mess around with it. But it's interesting because you have the receiver and then you have the transmitter, and then you get them to sync together. Back then they were doing it like that way, and you can work off of just the receiver.
Forerunner of a transceiver.
Forerunner of the
Yeah,
transmitter.
to both VFOs, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, but just like I said, as a receiver by itself, I'm enjoying messing around listening to this, right? And I do it with CW as well. But I'll tell you right now, that dial, when I'm bringing in something on that frequency there, I have to get the frequency, I have to take that indicator bar, if you will, and move it quite a way over to the right to get the frequency that people are really on. I don't know if that makes any sense. And so I'm having to experiment with that. Because in other words, if I had it straight up and I'm listening to somebody, that frequency that's showing up is not even close.
We use a 100 kc 100 kc calibrator, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's on there.
Yeah.
There's a calibrator switch somewhere, I remember.
Yeah, so I have to calibrate, and I haven't done that.
Yeah.
So I don't know what
But probably each time you use it, you know. and
Yeah. Yeah, every
probably
time
not
you use
real
that thing,
stable till it's been on for.
it takes a long
an hour.
time to use that
Yeah.
radio. You can't just turn it on and go.
Yeah.
You
Yep.
know,
It's
you have
different.
to really give it some time to warm up, and then even after it's warmed up,
And this is just the receiver.
that's just the receiver.
Yeah.
Exactly. Even after you're warmed up, you think you got everything set, and then you'll go back and that meter will be pinned all the way to the right. I gotta bring down the RF, and then you know, you get it, I don't know if it's a tube's doing their thing, or maybe some of the tubes are faulty, you know, I don't even know. Yeah. But,
Yeah, well, the tubes are pretty old, and I'm sure that they're struggling with you as well.
yeah.
But you move the pre-selector till you get the loudest level.
Yes.
And then you use your rejection tuning to kind of fine tune it in.
Yeah, and normally, I discover, I enjoy listening myself right in this area right in here.
Okay.
That's where I'm discovering I like it. And like I said, the BFO +1 for upper sideband, it worked beautifully. The lower sideband, I had to drop it here one time, and I don't know what that was about, and then sometimes it's +1. And then, yeah, the RF gain and the F gain, I'm still kind of learning where those settings need to be. They say the RF gain is supposed to be so you can see that meter move a little bit when you're getting, you know, when you're receiving a signal. You don't want it to just sit there. You want it to, you know, move a couple dB. And so I've kind of been working that there, and yeah. But just starting to learn how to use it, and hopefully I'll be on the net eventually with that. We were on 40 meters with a standard key,
Mm-hmm.
and the thing's really loud and it's real clunky.
Right.
You know.
Oh, because it's a relay switch. You're
Yeah,
used
it's
to
like-
you're used to QSK with the
Yeah.
diode, pin diode switching. It's certainly not that.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
So I'm trying to figure out a way to get it to
Things
where
were
it's
tough
soft.
back in the 60s.
Yeah, I imagine that.
Now that's top of the line. What I had was an old, big old broadcast receiver with a homebrew converter with an uncalibrated dial.
Oh, right.
And a 25 kc frequency standard, so that I made sure I was in band as a novice,
Right.
and never really knew the frequency, just just in band.
You just kind
Just
of
had to
hoped
guess at
that
it.
you were in the right.
I knew I was in band.
That was the closest you could get in band. Well, you could put a carrier out and then find yourself, or something
With
like that.
what?
Well, it's receiving at the same time you have.
I'm talking about my receiver.
Right, but
Transmitter
couldn't
was
you?
crystal controlled.
Oh, right. And as soon as you transmit, the receiver would switch off, wouldn't it? Or does it? Did you have? Was it automatic? Oh, you had to switch it yourself. Okay. Well, you know, a lot of them had a cable that went between.
Well, later I rigged up a relay that way.
Right. So I was saying that you could key up on your crystal and then find your carrier to kind of zero beat yourself, so you could hear.
Yeah, well, what I did actually, 7150 to 70, no, yeah, 7150 to 7200 was an office band, and I had some surplus crystals I got, and the only ones I could find were right on 7150, so I had to take a piece of glass and some old-fashioned gritty cleanser, grind it down, put it back in, and try it.
Right.
And then I had a friend across town that had an NC300, which was about like that, with a pretty accurate dial.
That's funny.
You know, and I'd call him up and ask him what frequency it was, and I'd put my dymo label on each of my 5 crystals I had that I ground down.
Right. That's
That's the way it was done.
could have taken a grid dip meter and just
What good would that do?
you want to find your frequency, just dip in on
The
the.
grid dip meter has a dial about this wide with pencil marks on it.
Yeah.
So there's no
Just
accuracy
as-
there,
no,
like
but-
you're thinking about.
Yeah, I
Now, that was
figured.
less accurate than my receiver.
Was
dial.
it? All I could say is thank goodness I didn't come in until after all that was
I'm just saying that was the top of the line,
Right.
and a lot of us didn't have anything nearly that good, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that 520S was my first radio. So, is everybody familiar with the 520S? I can show you a picture of that too. Yeah, the Kenwood.
what year was that when you got into it, Mike?
Well, the radio was what, 72 to 78 or something?
But when did you get your first license?
80, I think. Yeah, it was old technology then. A friend of mine just had it, so that's the one that I have in the closet there. He had a bunch of Collins and things like that. He collected the old stuff too, but I used the 520 for a while. That was the first radio I had to get on the air, and I think there were a few versions of that radio too. Let's see what pictures we have here. Yeah, so that was the whole collection. And I had the separate VFO. And then of course that's the radio and then the speaker. And there's your options. You had your desk mic, your hand mic, your speaker, and your external VFO. And then they came out with a digital modification that you could make for a VFO with a digital readout. That came a little later, like a lot later actually, like 1982 or 85 I think is when they first started bringing out those. So it was still a popular radio, and it's a tube radio, of course.
Well, it's hybrid.
It's a hybrid, you're right. It is a hybrid.
It has 3 tubes,
Yeah,
driver and 2 finals.
right, exactly. See if we can get a full picture here so you can actually see. There we go. So that one there, let's see if I can window capture for the people at home. That was, that was a nice radio for the time. Let's see, turn that on. Yeah, everything is too big on that broadcast. But you had your send and receive button. You didn't need to flick it though. It did have a send and receive button. This is the heater switch to warm up the tubes before you get going so that you weren't drifting when you first get on the air. And your Vox and manual switch. And of course that was also like yours, relay switch. There was no pin diode.
Actually, I don't think the heaters come on unless you have the main switch on. You turn that off.
Yeah, you have to turn the power on and then you turn the heater switch on.
Right, but if you leave the heater switch off if you're just going to use it for a receiver.
Yes.
For some reason.
Well,
That's what
because
that's
there's no
for.
point in warming the tubes for the transmit.
Right, but it doesn't warm them up ahead of time. You have to turn the whole thing on to warm it up.
Yeah, but I don't know if you're preheating the tube so that you
No,
wait.
you're not.
Well, when you first turn
You
the
turn
radio
it.
on, the radio turns on, the tubes are going. But what I'm saying is, I don't know, the heater switch.
Oh, I do know, because I have one.
Okay, what was
You
the
turn
point?
on the power,
Right,
and everything comes on, including the heaters.
right.
If you don't want to heat up the shack and you're only using
Oh,
it for
I
a
see,
receiver,
I see.
you turn off the heater.
I
It's
see.
not gonna
So
touch
it was a switch to really turn off the heater.
You turn
as-
off the heater.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
You
Got
can-
it, got it.
You can
Oh.
turn it on, nothing happens till you turn on the main power.
Right, of course, yeah. You're not going to preheat that way.
No.
I was thinking that when you turn the radio on, you can get the tubes heated up to temperature. But what you're saying makes more sense. If you want to use it as a receiver, you
That's
don't
what-
need
yeah.
to have the tubes heating.
Right.
So you would turn it off manually.
Was that 100 watt?
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, you could probably squeeze close to 200 out of it.
Yeah.
Well, no, they called it 200 because that was input.
No, I mean I've done it on a watt meter, and
200 out of one?
not quite. It was probably more like 130 or 40, but you're really peaking and dipping and peaking and dipping and peaking, and then you put the gain all the way up.
What are the finals on that one now?
What are
Where
they?
are they?
6146?
Yeah.
Yeah, 6140.
Same as your TSA 30.
And then it had the noise blanker for the woodpecker, which barely worked. And then your AGC, you have slow and fast. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I don't remember for sure, but I think there was a little open box at the top you could flip open and change the timing for the AGC. Was that radio that had like the 2 little pots in there, and you could change the fast and slow AGC timing? It was at the top right-hand side of the radio. I
Don't
think.
remember that, but maybe.
Yeah, I can't recall if it was this radio. And then, of course, you had your CW upper and lower sideband. There was no AM on this radio. and there was no data, for slow scan, because that was done on sideband. And then, of course, you had your tube loading and your plate, so you would peak and dip the grid for the tubes to get the, I guess, what is it, for biasing the tube? Is that the point of it?
No, you're turning the tank circuit.
Okay, but
You have
you're,
a pi network in the output,
right?
and you're getting it on frequency.
Oh, okay.
That is the filter rather than the filters like they have now.
Right. And then the drive is the power output. Of course, you had a RIT. And I believe on this one here, there was an offset of 700 hertz. So even though the RIT was in the center, it wasn't like you needed to use it like a zero beat. I think it already had if I'm not mistaken, I don't remember. Do you remember if it had because there was no zero beat on it. So I think it already had the offset of the 700 hertz offset, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, the 830, I know you turn it on tune and then you can do a real zero beat.
Right.
Which means you hear nothing when you get it there.
Yeah.
Old style zero.
That's
beat.
why I'm saying I think on this radio, when you were at zero RIT, you weren't zero beat. I think you were still at 700 hertz offset. I think. I don't remember that either. I only use the radio once a year for the classic radio event. And then your processor is your microphone processor, the carrier is your output for, I guess, for the microphone gain. And then AF and RF gain. As you notice here, there's no WARC bands, no 30 meters, no, what else is it, 12 meters, 17 meters, none of that. You only got what they gave you here, which is 160, 80, 40, 20, 15, 10, and then there was a separate switch because 10 was split into 2 or 3. Yeah, 28, 28.5, and 29.1, I think. I don't know what the auxiliary was. I guess if you had a secondary,
Just put a crystal in there.
you could. Okay. And yeah, so that was a good radio. It's still a good radio.
So the work bands, when did those come into play?
I think they were like 1985.
They came.
Yeah, it was either like 82 or 85. the
All right,
work
so that's
bands.
why these radios didn't have it
Right.
set up for
Yeah,
it.
no, there were
Yeah.
no work bands yet
All right.
on there, so you kind of just didn't get them, which was just the way it was. So, in any case, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that radio a lot. Let me see here. Somehow has changed. Oops, that's not what I want to do. I don't know why, but my window sizing changed for the broadcast. I'm trying to figure out why. So, anyhow. Anybody else have any old radios that they own?
I was remembering back to my first radio, which was an old Heathkit, CW QRP, that only broadcast on 17 meters or something, 15 meters,
Right.
21 megahertz, and it's 15 meters.
What was the radio?
I don't remember the model exactly, it was a Heathkit.
Oh, it was a Heathkit. John, you know the Heathkit radios. What do
Not
you?
real well, no.
No.
This was like 78, 79, it was old when.
Yeah, I don't remember the models of the Heathkits. If I'm not mistaken, the person who runs the web server for the club, that's Howard. He does the Comcat program. his dad was an engineer who developed the Heathkit radios. So that's just a little bit of information. So, yeah.
Well, I'll share more as I learn more. And like I said, I hope I'm on the air soon. Without, see, I can't make a lot of noise in the house when I'm transmitting, and that's part of my reason. I haven't even tried again. In the garage, we were making a racket. So,
On the relay rack, you mean?
I think it was loud. Well, plus you can't turn the volume down,
Yeah.
you know. And so that's why I got a CW side tone device.
That's right, you told me about that.
Yeah, I haven't gotten it yet, but when I get it, I'm gonna figure out how to connect it, and then I'll be able to turn the volume down on the monitor side. You know, I'd like it just.
So it puts out a decent
and-
side tone.
And it allows you to yeah, it supposedly does. Yeah.
And it's a key or two, I think.
Yeah.
Use patents.
So it should take the place of what's in the radio, is my understanding. Because what's in the radio, it's great if you're on a battleship or you're in the old ham shack where you could just do what you wanted to do. But
You never know when you're going to be in a battleship, right?
Right.
Anything is possible.
But you know, at home on the Elecraft, it's very quiet. You just do your thing. My wife doesn't even know. You know, I make all kinds of contacts, and then she goes to the PO box.
Oh, because it's the clicking that she hears?
Oh
That's
yeah,
what-
there's no clicking anymore. And so, and then she goes to the PO box, where I have my QSL card sent, and she comes home with envelopes.
Funny. Well, that's good. It's the old radios are always fun for me for a short while. I enjoy getting on that radio every year just for the day. After that, I'm glad to be back to my Elecraft.
Yeah, that's a lot of work.
But you know, that's not everybody enjoys that radio. You know, older radios. I don't enjoy tubes, and of course I have my own. Horror stories of tube transmitters and such, because when I was 12 or so, I don't know, I think I was maybe even younger, maybe 9, when I used to work on amplifiers. And I remember this one, I was working on a 1 kW amp, and I was pulling a tube, and my little T-pinky came out and shorted me across the tube, and I got an RF burn, and my fingers just clenched down on the tube so I couldn't let go. And I saw my pinky turning white, and then my whole arm started turning white, and by the time it got to about right here, I pulled the tube out with my finger. And for about 3 weeks, my whole arm looked like a ghost. I mean, literally, like white
Smells
as
funny too, huh?
a little.
RF burn.
Yeah, I mean that it was like literally like
Smells
that
funny.
white. It was the
Like burnt flesh.
So that's when I first learned not to put that pinky out when I was working inside amplifiers. I did end up fixing it, which wasn't a big deal, but you know, you learn your lessons.
Yeah.
And then later on, I started working on TVs, and you had those high voltage flybacks inside the TV, and I was smart by that point, so I never pinky fingered that as I'm pulling the suction cup off.
Because
of
your
the,
finger touched the chassis? Is that what happened?
It was, I don't know, it touched
Oh.
ground or another tube. I don't know what it touched. I just remember all I could do was sit in shock as my fingers were clamped down on the tube, and my pinky started turning
CRTs
white.
can bite you when the power's off too.
Yeah, the CR with the flyback, it holds energy in it. You got to take like a transmitter. You got to take a screwdriver and short out the caps. Otherwise, you know, you're gonna get it. And it's, I don't know what it is, 80,000 volts or something. It's pretty high.
Something like that.
It's
Low
like
power.
it's like when you get zapped with one of those tasers. Yeah, it's no fun thing. So, I tend to be a little, well, now I try not to even work on any of that old stuff anymore, but on that LCD, I wish you hadn't gotten rid of it. By a few hours, I could have had that thing fixed. So I gave John a 50-inch TV because it was having a problem, and I called him and asked him if he worked on it, and he said he didn't see what the problem was, and he asked me about recycling it, and I said, you know, they'll call somebody and they'll come get it.
So that's what I did.
And then and then like 6 hours later or whatever, maybe the next morning, I had already looked up the service manual and saw where the problem was and watched a video on YouTube to confirm that it was the same problem. And of course, it was just a ribbon cable that was oxidized, and you gotta.
That wasn't the cable, I tried that.
Well, no, you gotta pop it off and hit it with an eraser, or deoxit or something, and wipe it off in order to get a better connection. And then you snap that cable. It's that main cable that goes up from the board into the display. And once you do that, that solves the problem. But by the time I called them a few hours later, you know, it was gone.
Someone's enjoying that right now.
And I couldn't believe that you were able to get somebody to come get that so fast. You know, usually they tell you we'll be there in a week. You know, we'll come on Tuesday next week or something. Or did you just throw it into the neighbor's yard over the fence?
No,
What?
I wouldn't do that.
Well, okay, their neighbor's yard. Tossed it over like a basketball. What? They just came the next day or that day?
That day, actually, yeah.
Really? That's crazy. Well, and they don't give you any money. They just come get it, right?
Right.
So, of course, and if you did get money, I don't care. It's, you know, I didn't need it. But they make, I think they make like $45 to recycle that thing, or $35 to recycle it, if I'm not mistaken. That's what that whole state recycle.
State rip-off program?
Yeah, where you give them money for recycle, and then you either pay somebody to take it, and then they get paid for taking it, the double dip, but you're paying for it anyway. You know, what it is they figure.
No, I didn't pay.
No, I know, I know you didn't. But that's the whole concept, is they get money back from the taxes that we pay for the special recycle fee. And that's why they go
It's on
around.
everything.
Yeah, that's why they go around picking everything up, because to them, they're making money on everything. So they don't care. To them, it's a money grab, which makes sense. I mean, everybody's got to have their business, right? So, in any case, well, I haven't done this presentation for a million years. It's probably been 2 years since I did this presentation last. But I figure I might as well, well, before I do that, I'll cover it again. Does anybody have any club news or anything of interest that they wanted to talk about or mention?
Well, I just wanted to mention, my name's Ray.
I should have
Got here a little bit later. This is my son Rico. He got his license recently, a technician license. He's studying for his general. And so we're here to learn, and he's really excited about ham radio.
Yeah, we met Rico and your brother. Let me think. What is it?
Reuben.
Again?
Reuben.
Ruben. Yeah. And you're actually on the website. I don't know if you went and saw. I'll show you that real
Oh,
quick.
the picture?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, with your mother's permission, of course. But if you go into, let me just put it up. I guess I'll do this so you can see it here. And just bring a new window up. So, for anybody who didn't already see them, at the W6SFM homepage, if you go into the photo gallery,
Oh, okay.
and then you click on the 2021, of course, and then field day. So, I guess I might as well just go through them real quick here. For the people at home, let me just give them a view too. Everybody gets a chance. I have a feeling we'll have more at-home viewers this time than we will than we normally do. Let's just say that. if I can. Let me see here. Let's see. Sorry, I'll get back to it in just a second. Like I said, I want to make it so that other people at home can see what we're looking at. Okay, so that should be it. So yeah, there's John, and this is the only picture of art I was able to get. That was it. Chris, of course, Mike is back here, and that's your friend Dave, right?
I think so, I can't see it from here.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Let's do this.
That's where I remember him sitting now. Yeah, that's Dave.
Yeah. And then Chloe in the background. And there's Kevin, KN. And there's Wilson pulling the coax for the dipole. Mike setting up the vertical. Brendan, who I'm surprised is not here tonight, actually. I don't know who this clown is, but he's an old radio operator.
Eating an apple.
Yeah, are you eating an apple? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I don't know who these people are. That's Chloe.
Yeah, she was serious.
Yeah, you know, she really wants to do it, so she learned it real good.
Yeah.
She just
She was
didn't.
very
Her
committed.
copy is terrible, but her sending is really good.
One time.
Yeah, you know what it is. She just doesn't practice. There's the line, the mule tape coming over the tree to pull up the inverted V. That was, who shot that over? Was that Wilson that got that?
Wilson did it.
Yeah.
He was the one.
I think there's a picture of that. There we are eating our dinner. That's as we first started setting up. And there you go.
Yeah, there's the fam.
There's the two of you. So you're proudly displayed. And I wonder, let's see if I got your names on here. I'll bet you I did. Here we go. Oh, I didn't. Son of a gun. Well, I'll update it. I knew who you were. I got you on my list, you know. I think that was the last picture, maybe. Oh no, here we go. So there's Dave pulling the giant
weak one.
slingshot.
Couldn't do it. Couldn't do it.
Yeah, it's okay.
You gotta give Wilson the credit. I didn't get it.
Yeah, but you know what? You stretched it pretty good. And I'll tell you something. Ron here, I literally seen him pick up a piano.
Ooh.
So he's strong, and he gave it a shot or two, didn't he? And he didn't even get it over the tree. So if Ron didn't do it, then I don't know. Wilson just got
Wilson's-
super lucky.
He got it dialed in.
Yeah, he did
Trying to get
well.
some like around.
There he is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we went over the tree, and then we pull it up from the other side.
Wilson was the man of the weekend too, because he gave the club his kicks too for about 24 hours.
Oh yeah, not purposely. There's everybody. There's your mom, right? Let's see. Yeah, there's Ruben.
And you got to turn.
Oh, cool.
And there you are.
Nice.
Yeah.
So,
And I believe you can download these if you want, if you're interested in saving those. I know your mom got a bunch of pictures, but, and there's Bob, NEA. Chloe was there till about, well, what time did you come in? About 2?
Yeah.
So she went to bed right about 2, I think. She got off the air about 2. So that was pretty good. And there's good old Ken Cooley, the assemblyman for Rancho Cordova. But he's also the emergency communications coordinator for Sacramento. Assigned that position by Arnold Schwarzenegger when he was governor.
Oh, really?
So he's been around for a while. And there's Chloe working tonight, and Kevin's logging for. Yeah.
Do they have any like emergency communications, like meetings?
Yeah,
practice?
not well. Yes and no. It's a group called CERT, I believe, CERT. And then ARES, ARES, Amateur Radio Emergency Services. And I believe, isn't N6NA the ARES group? You know?
Oh, I know,
I don't know.
It used to be that the N6NA group over in North Highlands was the, and they have their meetings first Tuesday of the month, but I don't think they're in person yet. And they split up from the North Hills group, and I think North Hills remained the Aries and the Races group. And then N6NA kind of went off on their own. But for a long time, many years ago, they were a single combined group. But
Really, I didn't know that.
I
yeah,
think it was the Sacramento entry, W6SFM.
W6EK. Yeah, maybe.
Maybe 60K is for Placer County.
Yeah, I think you're right.
They're the ARES.
We have members of that group in our group too. You know what though? You can go and Google ARES and CERT and see, you know, where they meet. You could also go to ARRL and ARRL.org, and that will that'll be a good place to look that up for emergency communications.
Okay, and also, when is your Morse code class?
That'll be in September, and I really need to get on the ball with that because I've done no advertising other than the website. So I think I only have like 3 people I've signed up so far.
I have a few friends that might be interested.
Sure, you're welcome. As many as you want to bring. I can hold about 23. We go in the next
Well,
classroom.
it's just like a few, like 2 or 3 friends.
That's fine. I'm just saying I can hold up to 20. I usually take up to 22. After that, it's really difficult to teach the class. So right now, like I said, I think I only have 3 confirmed, and we meet in the classroom next door to this one.
You said what day is that, Tuesdays?
The N6NA meeting is in North Hills on Don Julio and what is that, Greenback?
Elkhorn.
No, I was
Elkhorn.
referring to
The Morse class?
Morse class, yeah.
That's on a Wednesday evenings from 7 to 9-ish.
Is it the
Don't be
corporate
prepared to
office?
leave till 9:30.
Oh, yeah, that's all. The next one up is in.
Yeah. So when I say 7 to 9, you can expect to be there till 9:30. That's just how it is.
So that starts, what date does that start?
Yes,
What date?
right.
September.
You have to look on the home page. I honestly don't know. Let me just see if we're done with this, and then you'll find it on the home page. Oh, and then that's Bob. He's a member of our club. If you didn't know Bob, Bob Kerr. He's a W9, I think, WA9 something. Who's that in the background? I can't tell who that is.
I have a question about your upcoming
Uh-huh.
class. Do you do certifications
You mean licensing?
for Morse code? Like
There is no such thing.
Oh, there's a
Morse code's not a requirement any longer, not for the last 10 years. So the only people who are taking it are people who are interested to learn Morse code because they've gotten so tired of sideband. Sorry, it's an inside joke. Yeah, people who just are not interested in doing sideband or digital modes, they just don't give them enough adrenaline anymore.
Right.
They go for the Morse code where it's a better, more interesting part of amateur radio. It is a skill, of course, and it's a whole other language. But one of the benefits, of course, is you have a 10-to-1 power ratio.
Right.
So for every 1 watt of Morse code, it's equal to 10 watts of sideband. So, you know, what takes somebody on voice 100 watts to accomplish only takes us 10. So that's,
I get a 10 watt, a cheap, 10 watt, transmitter.
yeah, you could use a 10-watt transmitter with a good antenna, and when the bands start getting better, you'll be able to work the world on 10 watts and a decent antenna. And when I say a decent antenna, it can just be a simple piece of wire in a tree, just like we set up here.
I just think that's really cool.
Yeah, plenty
10
enough.
watts and a little homemade antenna.
Yeah,
Do it all.
$12 in wire, and you know, you're ready to go. Yeah, so depends, you know, you can add a little bit if you want coax as opposed to what we call ladder line, which can be made out of wire and plastic tubing, and you may or may not want a balun, and you know, all kinds of different things you can add to increase the price. But for about $12 to $20, you could build a proper antenna. So.
And then also, like he's gonna want to put, or my dad's gonna want to put an antenna on that.
They don't care about that.
No, it's okay. What are you intending to put up?
Go ahead, finish what you're gonna say.
So we're going to set up like a cryptocurrency matter for it's called Helium. And basically you're only receiving, basically when you get an antenna on the roof, and like it's going to be telescoping antenna, and we have guy wires, and then we also need the granite coax cable through like we added.
Sure.
Like the little box there.
It's a, what is it? It's a loop antenna?
Well, it's the antenna's monopole. It'd probably be like a 5.8 dBi, and then I put it on a fiberglass telescoping mast.
Right. It's not just a straight pole?
Yeah, it's be up this way.
Oh, it's a vertical. Okay.
And one of the reasons I came to class is to find a person who'd be willing to give me some guidance and some wisdom, because I've never done anything like
What
this
kind of roof
before.
do you have?
Composite
Composite shingle?
Composite.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have a chimney?
There is a chimney, although I don't think I would be using that.
Well, the best thing to do and the most easiest thing to do, especially for a first time installation, is to get a chimney strap.
Okay.
And they sell them, you know, you can buy it online from like Gigaparts or something.
Those are the ones that wrap around.
It's
the
just a
chimney?
copper or, you know, some sort of brass strap, and then it has a clamp, and you,
Yeah, I've seen
yeah,
that.
for a TV antenna, you just ratchet it tight. There's two of them, and then they have U-bolt clamps, and then you just put the mast in the U-bolt and tighten the U-bolts, and there it is. And if you want to guy it because you're up
Right.
higher,
Yeah.
then maybe every, 8 feet or so, 10 feet, run a guy down, and since you have composite shingle, you could literally take an eye bolt and just screw it right into the roof through the shingle, and then maybe hit it with a little bit of tar from Home Depot to, you know, they sell it in a can, just to, like mastic, just put some mastic on it so it doesn't leak through the roof.
And I didn't want to take away from the direction you were going with the class, but since we're talking about it, my thought was to put an eye bolt on the wooden part rather than, because that's very scary to me, drilling into the shingles. What about, you know, eye bolts on the side of the wood?
Oh, in the eaves?
Yeah, in the
Yeah,
eaves.
that's fine.
And then doing the guide wire from that.
Yeah, you can. The only problem is when you have the eye bolt here and you have the guide wire going like this, you're gonna be digging into your composite because it hangs off the edge. If you have flashing on the side of the roof, it'll dig until it gets to the flashing and it'll stop. But that's the only negative. Usually what you do is if you're going to go all the way to the sides, you would eye bolt into the eave from the top, because then there's no leaking because you're going into an eave, you know, the line coming out of the eave, and then, you know, you're just simply just getting into the wood.
Right.
So if it leaks, you're only leaking into the wood, not through the roof.
Right. How old is your That's a good question. I bought it about 5 years ago, and I think they said they had about 5 years on it, so probably 10 years old.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah.
So,
One of the issues I have, I'm starting to see some, it's not mold, it's moss, a little bit of moss developing.
yeah, you have to put that, you have to put that mast onto some structure. You can buy a tripod, and what they are is it's a tripod that you open up and it has little flat metal pieces with a hole, hole through it, and then you just drill screws into the roof. But again, now you're drilling in the roof again, so you
Right.
need to mastic over it,
Right.
and the mastic will keep it from leaking into the roof, because if it rains, it's gonna come, if you don't do anything to seal that where you drilled it into the roof.
Right.
But the tripods are real nice. They make 3-foot tall tripods you can get them on Amazon, antenna tripods that come with like a 10-foot pole or something.
So the antenna, so the tripods, you rest it on the roof and then screw down from there?
That's right.
Okay.
And then of course you would guy up at the top of the antenna, and then if it's 20 feet, you'd have one at the top and one at the middle. And the guy wire has to be connected in such a way that it has an insulator so that there's no connection to the antenna to the guy wire. You know, you can use Philistrand type of parachute cord, you know. Yeah, you know, they make Philistrand cord that's 1,000-pound test, and you can literally just tie it around it with a slip knot or something and then bring it down.
Could we use paracord as guy wire?
Yes, that's what I was just saying. So, you know, it's a little costly to do that, but it, you know, you can do that. There are, I believe, wireman.com or wiremen.com, M-A-N. Yeah, wireman.com. He sells that stuff for a very reasonable price, and you can get it there. He may even have the insulators and the clamps to set it all up. But that would definitely get you non-reactive of, you know, that way. Because you don't want anything to touch the antenna because it'll detune the antenna. So,
I took some pictures on my phone.
yeah.
Well, they're good.
So those are the two easiest things, is the tripod with the guy wires. But honestly, if you just clamp it to the chimney and just use the antenna off of a 5-foot mast, you will have just as good a receiving as if you put that thing 25 feet in the air. Not on a vertical antenna, you're not going to see any difference. So you might as well just have the two clamps separate by 6 feet, you know, the bottom of the chimney, top of the chimney, you know, maybe a foot off the roof line and then a foot down, just so it can't twist its way up.
Right.
And then, like I said, just has the U-bolts. You clamp it on there with a 5-foot mast, stick your antenna into the mast, and that's it. You're done.
One more thing, I'm going through the roof.
Yeah.
My roofer buddy says it's better to get a small piece of tin.
Oh, a flash.
And you drill through the tin, piece of flashing, and then you put the mastic under the tin, because in this weather in the summertime,
Oh, it'll heat it
the
right up.
mastic will crack, so,
Yeah.
you know, you mastic the daylights out of it, a couple years later, it's leaking because it cracked.
Right.
So that keeps the sunshine off, but
Yeah, good advice. So the mastic just goes, so he's saying take the flashing, put the mastic underneath against the composite shingle mastic, and then the flashing. And the flashing is underneath
Yeah,
a
6-inch
composite. Yeah, a
by
little
8-inch
6-inch by
piece or something.
8-inch piece of flashing. And then you lay that down on it, so now the mastic is between the composite and the metal.
keeps the sun from deteriorating on the
Yeah.
mastic.
And then the mastic will, and then you go through it, and then you would put your screw in. It'll seal because the mastic will be gummy around the screw as it's going through. And then you could put a little mastic on the top as well. It's not
So
gonna,
the tin flashing, then the mastic, then the composite.
yes.
Another idea, get a Home Depot bucket,
Oh, yeah?
get a bag of concrete.
Yep.
Right, I thought.
And get a PVC pipe,
Yeah.
Yep,
so long, and then stick that in the dry concrete,
yep.
Right,
then pour water in it
yeah,
and let it sit,
right.
but
Yeah.
level it first.
Right.
And then take your pole, get a pole,
Yeah,
put your mast on that pole, put that in the bucket, move it near your house, and then rig up that same line, the parachute line or whatever you want, to tie around that pole, and then screw it into your eaves, so that pole's not gonna move.
right.
Yeah. Yeah, you can get a bracket into the eave.
Yeah.
Now, as far as guy wire, because I thought about that a lot. I've got a pretty tall, the side of my house is about 20 feet tall, and then I was hoping to go 30 feet above that.
Oh. well,
So that might be a little too
Yeah,
much.
that's.
Guy wires.
Yeah, like I said, you don't need to put a vertical up that high.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's not necessary because I'm assuming it has no,
I'm going for line of sight.
well, that doesn't quite work like that.
What frequency what are you talking, what bands?
It would be 9, I think it's 916 for America.
Oh, you're doing cell phone?
No, it's called LoRaWAN, Long Range Wide Area Network, and if you look at the helium network, it'll explain
Okay, I
what
know
it
what it
is.
is.
So basically, it's to support Internet of Things devices that are emitting these radio frequency
Yeah,
little packets, and then the helium, the antennas can receive these.
right.
Um,
Is it a mining system?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a mining. It's basically a cryptocurrency.
Yeah, height above ground is gonna be important at that frequency then.
Yeah.
So you do wanna go up a little
You
higher.
have directional antennas too?
You don't want a directional antenna when you're mining, especially, where are you located?
I'm off of Antelope and 80.
Yeah, there's almost nobody in the Roseville area mining right now. And there's a few over by you. Not a whole lot though.
Yeah.
Most everybody's in South Sac and Sacramento if you look at the charts of the mining. So you're in a decent area. I think you'll pretty much capture everything.
Have you heard of the helium network?
Oh yeah, I know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's my big interest, but also to support him because he is interested in ham
Sure.
radio.
Well, the thing is, you can put that antenna on top of another antenna too. You can stack.
Just get a tower, because if you get the tower, you can do your gig and set your sun up.
That's right.
Like
You
Yeah.
need a 100-foot tower.
I thought about a tower, but
Yeah.
my concern with the tower is I've got to get permission from the county.
Yeah, most counties are 35 feet now. They're not allowing any higher than 35 feet.
Yeah.
And also the restrictions are you can't be any taller than you are distance from your property line. So that way it doesn't fall into the neighbor's house or their yard. So you could only, literally be, if you only have a 60-foot lot, you can only be 30 feet
So
high.
even with the fiberglass?
No, that's different.
Because that's what I'd be using.
Yeah.
It's a fiberglass. A
Right.
mast above the roof line.
No, that's fine. That, you won't have any issues with that.
So do you think that's a good plan though? Because that's kind of originally what I was thinking. What you're
Yeah,
saying.
but not at the height you want.
It
No.
seems a bit high
Oh, yeah.
to do that method. I mean, you certainly could, but now you're talking about buying 40 feet of mast,
Yeah.
and then you need to do, you're gonna already get 15 feet of height off the roof before you bring it up another 15 feet. So now you're only talking about guying 2 different sections, and you wanna guy in a 3 ways.
Right.
All right, so you're aware of that?
Yeah.
Okay, so you only need to guy in 2 spots, the top and the middle, at 15 feet, and you're not having any issues with it falling down. Whereas if you do the bucket, a concrete, and then a clamp on the side of the eave, you're still gonna have 20 feet above ground, so you're gonna have to guy into the backyard, you're gonna have to guy into 2 spots on the house. You'll have guy wires, and your wife might not like that.
Now, if 30 feet is a little too ambitious, if I was just going to go say 20 feet,
You'd be fine.
could I still attach the guy wire to the roof line, or do I have to go out? Further than that?
You wanna be about a 45-degree angle.
Okay.
So your guy wires shouldn't be like coming out like this, and they shouldn't be coming out like this. You want to have them at a 45-degree angle so that they're coming out to the 3 sides equally. Because, and to be perfectly honest with you, the wind load on an antenna like that is so low that it would take a lot. I have a 28-foot antenna stuck in the ground with a 3-foot tube in the ground, and it's never fallen over with no guys on it.
Yeah, I've
So-
seen some pretty tall antenna masts around. I've been looking.
Yeah.
And they.
Yeah, some of them, well, if there's a 2-inch mast, you probably won't have a problem. If you have an 1.25 inch, it's gonna bend on you. If it gets enough gust, like a 60-mile-per-hour gust, it's gonna start bending the tube. It may not fall over, but you're gonna have a tube that goes like this, and then you're gonna do it again. So that's what the guying is really for. It's gonna keep, for that type of antenna, you have like a 2-pound wind load, meaning it's like someone's pushing on it with 2 pounds of pressure. It's so thin and aerodynamic being round that unless you get a gust where it pushes it this way and then forces it back over again like this, it's that type of action that causes it to bend and break. It's not the wind just blowing at it like this, because it'll come back and it'll just blow again. But when it blows hard and then it stops and then it comes back over, because it's centrifugal force, it's going to return, and then it gusts again, and then it comes back and it gusts again. That's the type of thing that knocks it down. So low wind resistance on an antenna like a vertical, And I don't even think that antenna has any ground plane at all, meaning it has no radials that come out from the bottom. It's just a vertical tube
Yep.
and
That's all it
nothing
is.
else. So, you know, you probably could get away without grounding it at all, but you might have a bent up tube, and of course you don't want to have it fall into anything to hurt anybody. So it's at least at the top, do at least one guy, you know, because if it can't move here, it's not going to move down here.
So, once if we were put it on the edge of our house, we have like Italian cypress trees.
Yeah.
So if we were to put it on the edge right there.
Your job will be to climb the cypress and put it at the top. You'll strap it with a clamp. You'll get one of those yellow clamps, and you'll strap it to the top of the cypress
We
tree.
didn't strap it to the tree because,
Oh, you can if you climb up.
well, it's on the others. It's
It might
actually-
be
It's on
painful.
the
Probably
neighbors.
infested with black widows.
Yeah, but it's
It's
on the
okay.
neighbor's side.
It's not you. Wear a suit,
Do it at night.
put a hood on, and you know, you'll be fine. You could get up there. When the tree starts swinging over, that's how you know when to stop.
Well, it's on the neighbor's property. The
It's
tree-
okay. They will never know. They don't look on your side.
Good point. But if we were to just put it right straight up right here.
Yeah, you don't want it too close to the tree, because the tree could potentially interfere, and also when it rains, the tree becomes conductive, and it will detune the antenna.
Because it basically is like exactly to the top of the cypress, of the Italian cypress
Yeah.
trees. So we wouldn't get any wind on this side. So
Well, you're gonna get wind no matter what you do.
because it kind of like slows down the wind on this
Yeah,
side.
Right.
we're gonna have to go center of the house, and I'm really glad I got the information. I didn't realize that the wet trees would make,
Absolutely, yeah.
But you
That's
said
why
we-
lightning hits trees, because they're conductive,
that makes
not
sense.
because they're not conductive,
Right.
you know.
So you said that we could also climb like or put it on top of the tree.
You could if you want to
No.
risk your life climbing that tree. I've climbed a cypress.
Well,
It's not a fun thing to do.
Well, if we throw it
How
out,
long
so-
ago, Mike?
Oh, 30 years ago.
Oh, okay.
I just picture the crows that hop on mine, and it's like.
Yeah, you could tie a filastrand to the crow's foot and then say fly, or you could get a drone and lift the wire, and then when it gets up there, grab the wire and then pull it around the tree and then tie it, and there
Wait,
you
you just have
go.
like connect it to the drone and like fly it around like this.
There you go.
Yeah, with wire antennas, you don't have to get up in the tree.
No,
You know, you shoot them up there with a
yeah,
launcher or
like a
something.
tennis ball launcher with a fishing line on it, and then it goes up.
Or a
And you,
fishing pole or.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
That's how I got my
Slingshot or something.
solar antenna.
oh, did you get your antenna out of the
No,
tree?
it's still up there.
Still up there. Okay.
What happened with yours?
Well, that big windstorm we had 6 months ago, it tangled up my antenna in the tree. So it started pulling on the antenna, so I undid the coax, and so now it's stuck on 2 different branches about 60 feet up.
So the antenna wire is all wrapped around the limbs?
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
gave him that 30-foot. I gave him that 30-foot pull-out mast, the fiberglass mast, to try to
Oh.
unsnag it. And you were able to touch it with the pole,
No,
right?
Not the horizontal part.
Oh, okay. So you never even got
I
close
think
to
it
it.
wasn't even
You know what I
close.
should do, or offer to do, is take that launcher that we use and see if I can get that over
Oh, and
the
then
wire.
pull it on from the
And then
wire.
pull down,
That's
bring
an
that,
option.
bring
Yeah.
the wire back down and start
I
over.
guess I could try that too as well.
Another option is, if you still have your truck, tie a rope around his tree and just
Bring the tree down.
bring the tree
I
down.
wouldn't,
So
it's a
I wouldn't
redwood.
use that, do my work.
Is it a big old heavy limb or just a little?
Well, it's a redwood, so they're all little.
Yeah, a little spiny.
So I have a question.
Yeah, go
So
ahead.
would it be better to put it on the chimney or the middle of the house?
It doesn't matter, but the chimney is so easy
The
to do.
chimney is the easiest solution.
If you have a 20-foot antenna and you strap that thing at the bottom of the antenna, I don't even know that. I had an antenna like that, sat up there for 12 years, never guyed, and it was 28 feet tall off the top of the
You didn't
mast.
have to guide it?
Well, you know, have to, and did I? But it sat there for 12 years and never
Yeah.
came down.
28 feet.
Yeah, it was 28 feet from the beginning of the top of the, because the chimney clamp held a 5-foot mast. And then the antenna pushed into the mast. And then it just went up 28 feet from
In
that.
real life, what you could do is you could use your chimney, do the strap, put it on a 10-foot pole,
Yeah.
get it established,
Right,
use it.
right,
Then you go, I want to go higher. Then you
Sure.
go back on the roof
right,
and put your guy wires up.
yeah.
That's what I would do.
That's true.
Well, I'm spending money on LOR 400 cable though, and so I'm concerned about if I set my cable up, you know, I'd have to.
Have extra
You can
cable.
extend the
Have
cable.
extra-
You get like a
extra-
1/4 dB loss between a barrel connector. It's insignificant. And you're receiving, not transmitting, so a 1/4 dB loss is nothing.
Right.
It'll be so little, it'll be like maybe 6 microvolts if that. I mean, not even that. It would
You
be
might
much lower.
discover that your phase 1 solution works fabulous.
Yeah. Yeah, you probably will, to be quite honest. And then you'll start putting up Yagis, and you'll start shooting Yagis in different directions. Because that's really where it is. There's a guy named Zane, you want to know about all of this stuff, call Zane. He's in Arizona, and his company is called Big Rig, either Big Rig CB Radio or Big Rig Radio. And I think he's in Tucson, Arizona. And yeah, Zane is his name. You call Zane and he'll tell you everything you ever wanted to know about mining.
Is that specifically for the Helium Network?
Yes, that too. He does all of them. And he makes about $600 a month on each. So he's making good money.
So, do you think it would be if it would work if we put the helium miner antenna or telescoping mast right here in the middle, and then we put maybe like if we wanted it a separate time, and maybe we buy for.
He's saying put it on the.
Yeah, he's asking because he wants his antenna too.
Oh,
So
I see.
you
Yeah,
can
so
you
we
can
might
put
put
both. You can always get another clamp and go the other way. You have 4 sides of a chimney, so one goes in one corner and yours goes in the other corner.
Should we put should there be a certain amount of distance between the antennas so they don't interfere, or because they're on different frequencies, it doesn't matter?
There'll be a slight amount of tuning that you'll need to do on your antenna or his antenna to make sure it's not being detuned. But I'd say a 3-foot distance between them, which is a standard chimney with
What frequency are you talking about on the mic?
918.
Megahertz?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be a far cry from HF.
No, it's not the transmitting he's worried about. It's just he's getting his interaction between the 2 metal pieces.
I don't think it would matter that much because
I don't think it would.
If I were to just do like maybe like an hour or a few hours every few days, or like an hour every
Yeah, no, it's not that. His antenna is not affecting it at all. When you transmit, you may get overloaded,
That's true.
because it's the proximity, no matter what, he's going to whatever frequency he's transmitting on. He could be on the lowest frequency possible, and you're way up here, but any RF transmission is being shot straight into your antenna.
Yeah,
So,
and there are a lot of other solutions for his radio. They're kind of separate in a way. You could do an end-fed. You ought to look into end-fed
yeah,
wire antennas.
for you, I would suggest
Very
don't even
simple.
go with the vertical antenna. I would just go with a piece of wire, and your wire could.
You would have a lot more fun.
Yeah.
You would have a lot more fun with an end-fed wire antenna
I
than a
agree.
vertical antenna.
Yeah, what you could do is you could put another mast on the other side, and that could be the center of your antenna, and then your antenna comes down from the sides. And that wouldn't be an issue. So, just depends on what you're gonna do. If you're using Morse code, then you're gonna be on HF. You're not gonna be on that handheld talkie frequency.
So I don't think it would matter that much because the telescoping mast would be like way up here. It would go really high, and then the top would be where the antenna is.
It doesn't matter. You're anything within 100 feet, his antenna is going to hear everything you're doing no matter what frequency. It's just energy. Energy it's like if I mean, think of it like a wave in the ocean. You don't have to be next to the boat. If the boat is 100 feet away and a speedboat comes around and creates a wake, 100 feet away, that wake is going to hit your boat and you're going to go like this. That's just how it works. It's energy. You can't stop the energy. Well, you can stop it. There is something you could do.
Well, could I get a filter?
You could get a filter, not for you, but for you, and you would filter out anything but the frequency you're listening for. And that would, that would create isolation for you. But if he's 20 feet away, 30 feet away, and, if he's transmitting for an hour a day, as long as he's not transmitting when everybody's making their transactions, you're okay. Besides, it's your son. Give him a little radio time. But there's a way to do it. There's a way to put a filter in to stop his transmission from interfering with yours, or vice versa. But it doesn't make sense for you to have to filter it. It makes more sense for you because you're on a fixed frequency.
And I wouldn't be transmitting at all.
Right, exactly. So he doesn't have any recognition of you being there at all. But your antenna will be, those numbers that we were looking at, 100 kilohertz separation, that's the amount of filtering that can be blocked away from your receiver. Because your receiver is going to hear energy that's close and it could overwhelm, and what that does is it blocks out any signals that you're trying to hear. You may not necessarily hear him. If you were to listen to the signal, you would just be blocked out. It's like when two people are transmitting on the same frequency at the same time, how you get a carrier, and instead of hearing somebody, you just hear boom, and you can't hear anybody talking. Same concept.
So it's like a jammer.
Yeah, like a jam. You'd get jammed out is all. And it would be when he's transmitting. But, like I said, you can get what do you call it? What's the box that blocks the filter?
Yeah.
What's it called?
Bandpass filter?
A bandpass filter.
Yeah,
Yeah,
bandpass.
you can get a bandpass filter, and
That's expensive.
So I'm fairly new to this. What does a filter look like? Is it a device?
it's a little box about yay big. And
Okay.
antenna comes in and goes out to the radio receiver.
Oh, I have seen those on antennas. I have seen like little boxes that are on the side of the
Mhm.
mast.
Yeah. Well, those are probably for a different reason,
Could be a
but
lot of things.
yeah, it's probably a ground or a inductive load. So it's probably not that, but they make boxes that will filter so that you're not receiving interruption from other signals.
So I just attach it to the mast.
You don't have to put it on the mast. Put it up right at the radio in the back of the mining.
So you can cut you have to
Just sits in the house.
And you have a coax cable right here. You
Just-
just plug your coax cable into this, and then
Yeah,
you get a tiny
it's-
1 or 2 foot coax cable.
Yeah, it's just an in and out, and it goes right into the radio.
And would it affect the power at all?
Your power, it
Or
affects
just
nothing.
power, like, or
No,
say
there is no degrading of the signal because the filter is allowing everything that you want to come through. It's only blocking things that you don't want. It's specifically tuned for the frequency that you're operating.
And how much do those cost?
I don't know.
Here's one for $2,822.
There you go. What's it? Oh, cavity filter. That's what it's
You
called.
said 2,800?
No,
Yeah, he's just being
No,
facetious.
it's actually here, but.
You're right. You can make your own.
You can make
It's
your
called
own.
a cavity filter.
DX Engineering sells one for $169.
Just ask Phil. He'll make it for you.
Here's one for
And it'll come in a pretty box.
Carol made one out
In a tin.
in a Altoids tin.
Yeah, since you're only receiving, you don't need any high power at all. You could literally build it in an Altoids can.
Yeah, you don't have any power.
It's just like an inductor, and I mean, Phil just brought his in, and his was a 6-stage cavity filter, and the whole thing was what, about 4 by 6 maybe?
Unless he gets an amplifier, then it just might melt the whole box there. but-
Possibly. Yeah. So you don't need anything that can handle any power.
Yes, a couple inductors and a couple capacitors.
Yeah, it's a bunch of capacitors and inductors, and that's it.
Yeah, 900 megahertz.
It's not gonna be cavities, it's gonna be just a pretty small. Really tiny.
Yeah, exactly. It wouldn't be cavities at that frequency and that power level. It would just be a capacitor and an inductor. You'd have probably in a pi network, same thing. You'd have 2 capacitors and an inductor, and that's probably all you'd need. And you just have to tune those things to the resonant frequency you're operating, and you'd be fine. And there's plenty of information on the internet for it's not a cavity filter, but I don't know what they call it. Oh, a bandpass filter, yeah, there you go. Just look up bandpass filter, and the term would be QRP because you're not worried about power, so QRP means low power. And there will be plenty of ham radio articles on that. Probably even find some on the ARRL site if you're a member, which I think you are, aren't you?
No,
Not yet, okay. Yeah. It's $49 a year, and you get a magazine with it once a month.
There's one if you're like under like 18 or 21, you can get like.
Oh yeah, there might be a student discount on that.
25.
Yeah.
Or if somebody can poke your eyes out, you could be a blind membership for life for $400. Yeah.
Yeah, there's actually 4 magazines now.
Yeah.
Oh, is there 4?
You get.
Can you get all 4?
Online.
Oh,
yeah.
online.
One on the
Okay.
subscription.
1 in the mail and
Yeah.
3 additional online. Yeah, so there's plenty of, benefits. Plus you can also get insurance. And the insurance is $1.10 per $100 worth of equipment. So insuring that there would be like $2.50 a year. And if it got crushed, broken, or lost, they would give you a $50 deductible and pay you the money to buy a new radio. But it's good when you have a home station because, you're talking about $3,000 worth of stuff, including the antenna. And now you're talking about $30 a year. And if when electrical strike hits it and blows up your radio, then for $50 you get an entirely new radio station.
Well, that's awesome.
Yep. So it's very
So it's
inex-
insurance through ARRL?
Yeah, it's insurance through ARRL, and I believe it's provided by Prudential or something. But you just need to look up ARRL insurance, and you have to be a member, so you do pay the $49 a year membership
There's
fee.
also family pack, which is like a little, yeah.
Do you have to have a license in order to be an
Nope.
ARRL?
I don't think they require you to be an amateur radio operator. They want as many people as.
I'll take it.
They'll take your money.
Yeah, they want to give them money. They're happy to take it. You can sign up for ARRL through our club as well. We make $2 whole for you signing up through our club. As a matter of fact, if you go online,
Because in life membership, they have a thing where you can pay quarterly, like 200 or, $280 quarterly.
for the rest of your life.
3 years, and you can get a life membership.
Oh, it can't be quarterly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's about $3,000. Nobody
Yeah.
who wants,
It's-
well, for
you're
you, it
still
would be an
getting that money.
amazing
Yeah,
deal.
yeah.
When I was your age, I saw life membership for $700, I think it was, and I said, no way. And then, of course, I have life membership now, and I think it was like $2,400. And now, like you said, it's probably about $4,000 or $3,500 or something. But I was going to show you something on the website, and I've already forgotten what it was. Oh, yeah, if you go here to About W6SFM and you click on Join Renew ARRL, you can actually fill out your membership application here. And then when you're done with that, you just click on this link here, and it'll ask you to.
So I can join that through the W6SFM website?
Yeah, you can. Mm-hmm.
And then you guys get
It's your best value.
credit for that?
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say that. Only
It's our best bet.
it's our best value.
That
It's the
sounded,
club's value.
it sounded really
You don't
good.
really. Sometimes they'll give you some book or something that for signing up on their website, and they'll give you like a book that you may or may not ever want to read.
Well,
May or may
just
not.
starting out, it might be very
I said
valuable.
may or may not.
It's only $12.25 for a life member.
$1,225.
Yeah.
That's cheap.
You should have waited.
I thought it was like $2,500 I paid. Are you sure? Oh, for youth or?
You're gonna have to work twice as long now.
That doesn't sound right. That sounds too low.
I'm just interested in,
Rates is of 2016, what's going on?
sign up,
60s is like $300.
Yeah, it was like $700 when I was your age, and I thought there's no way I could
Yeah.
pay that much. That's
Yeah.
ridiculous. But I thought,
gonna live that long,
I may
right?
live. Yeah, if I lived to 90, it would have been so
Yeah.
paid off. Of course, even now at the price I paid, it's still paid off, you know. And now Chris, that's the interesting thing. Chris can sign up as a blind member, and it's like $250, and it's lifetime membership, because they never thought about the fact that they might come out with online magazine, because he just puts his reader on and then blah, 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 reads the whole magazine to him. But back then, you know,
We don't have to ship it.
yeah, back then they thought, oh, we're going to save money. We don't have to ship the magazine to them. So, and with the blind membership, you don't get the magazine. So, yeah. Well, they figured you can't read it, so what's the point?
Right.
So, yeah. So it was like $250 for blind membership, lifetime blind membership. So if you can poke your eyes out, you could save even more money. It might not be worth it for you though, because then you'll have to live the rest of your life screen reading
When you turn
everything.
to 70, you can get a life membership for $750.
Is that what it is? 70 is
that right now
750?
then, but it would never pay off. How much? 750?
$750.
Yeah, so I'd have to live like
Well, they want to make
35.
Well, you don't know. They may raise the price again.
Yeah,
What is it now for a?
Here, look on the screen.
$50.
I'll put it up there.
Yeah, I was forgetting about the insurance.
$50, $49.
The insurance is totally worth it.
Yeah. I just bought a new rig and I was thinking.
All right, so 49 a year. Blind, here we go. Blind membership is $10 a month, a year. 10 a year or 30 for 3 years. Okay, and then here's life membership. Well, according to this, you were right. It's still $12.25. And then the blind, look at that. See, blind membership still $250. So it's not too late to go blind.
So once you're 70, you can go for 750.
Yeah, but once you're over 70, you can get in for 750, because the average lifespan is, I think, 86 now. So they figure.
So what's 8 times?
But yeah, there's the those are the numbers there. Let me
What's the normal dues? 50.
49.
So say 50.
Yeah,
49 a year.
49 a year.
$25.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah,
It's a 15-year ROI.
right. Yeah, it's a 15-year, so you're good to 85. And if you die before that, they're like, yes! And if you don't, then they're like, But the average life now, I think, is 86. That's what they're
You can
saying.
get international for 1,500.
Yeah, well, but I don't think you get the magazine. So, again, if you want to go blind just for a year, it's only $10. And
How much is the youth? I think I looked.
I don't.
They haven't raised their rates since
Right there at the
26.
bottom.
Yeah, youth is 25 a
Actually, what
year.
about the family?
Family is what extra
Must be
$10,
side with the primary
so it'd be
member.
35 a year for 2 people. But why?
Yeah, there's no need for that.
There's it
You're
doesn't.
not going to want to do
It, you know,
Just do
it's
one.
like joining the union. If one of you is in the union, what are you going to get by 2 people being in the union? Because you're not getting anything out of the
Does
union.
he get a student discount?
Yeah, it's here. $25 a year.
Okay, what if we
Yeah,
just,
that-
so what if we signed me up and then we did, like we did all the insurance for him? Would that work?
Yeah, absolutely. It's just your equipment.
Because I'm probably putting in about $1,000.
Yeah, so it's like $12 a year or something.
Yeah.
It's nothing.
Yeah, do the youth membership.
Yeah, do the youth membership. I would milk that out.
Yeah, that's a good value.
Licensed amateur in the household.
Well, you got no license.
Well, get your
Yeah.
license.
Yeah.
Get it, it's easy.
Well, even without,
We get
doesn't
a student
matter.
discount.
Yeah.
Right, you wouldn't, right, maybe you get that
Yeah,
senior
But he
discount.
still would be the subscriber, right?
Yeah, he's a subscriber. No, he's saying he's going to get a youth. He was just saying he
Yeah.
could get $10.
Oh, for the family.
For the family,
There
yeah.
you
But there's
go.
no point. It
There's
doesn't
no
make
point in
sense.
doing that.
No, and I don't know, I don't think our application online actually has the,
It says to call directly. We want to talk to you if you want to see.
oh, does it,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't think our
Why don't we do it
application
right
has the ute. I think it's just either new or, yeah, brand new membership, but I don't think when you get to the payment, I don't remember ever seeing it on the application for our reconciliation form. Yeah, see, it's only the family membership and the and that. And then, of course, renewal is the same price every year for renewal. Let me look and see on the files on my computer here if I have a copy of the reconciliation form, and I can tell you if we can do the Ute, the Ute.
Well,
the
the
Ute
ARRL
membership.
site, it said to call.
Did it say
us,
call?
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're a club and we get things that they don't. Let's see, I'm looking for.
I have a quick question, my question.
Yeah, go ahead.
You said for guy wire it has to be around 45 degrees.
About, just so it doesn't
Yeah,
fall over.
so-
That's all you're doing.
You said we might not even really need guy wire for the telescope.
Yes.
So would it matter?
I'm not a doctor, so I can't give that kind of advice.
Would it be?
But
Would it be? Because if we did the guy wire kind of like kind of sharp or too long or too. Like,
if it's too sharp, then the thing leans over and this folds over and it just falls.
Oh. So it'd be better to do no guy wire than to do it like that.
No,
No.
no. I mean, if your tooth is dangling, it's better to pull it out than to leave it there dangling. So, I mean, it's the same concept. You're gonna
We call
suffer.
us amateurs for a reason. We do the best we
That's
can.
right. That's right. I don't give any legal advice, or marginal at best. Let's see.
Marginal legal advice.
Yeah, I'm like Bill Handel.
Guys that do.
Let's see here. Here's the reconciliation form, and yeah, there's no Ute on the. Oh no, there is. I take it back. We can do a Ute. I'll have to add youth to the payment thing because apparently, well, let's see. It's kind of weird. It's funny because the form that I fill out for you doesn't have the ability to do youth yet. Yet the reconciliation form that I fill out to give them to get your membership starting, they offer youth on my form. So somehow I'm supposed to be able to reconcile with them your youth form, but there's nowhere for you to fill it out. So I can add it in there, and the only reason I don't have it now is because I don't want people who aren't you to fill it out and then pay $25 and then I need 49. Then it just means I have to call and start reconciling numbers with people. So what you can do is if you want to join and there is nothing special that you get for joining on ARRL website, and I don't know what they would give us because we actually on a new membership we get $15. And I doubt that they'd give us $15 on a $25 membership. So I'm gonna guess there's a little thing here. No print requires one sign blind due to subject changes. I'll bet you there's like a little tiny note here that says you get nothing for you. But I'm gonna find it. Give me 1 second and see. Because if that's the case, then there's no point. My club gets $2 on membership. Has been 2 or more years. My club will keep $15. You know, I'm not seeing additional membership options. U.S. membership
Well, we
includes
should do it and see what
20
happens.
Family magazine.
There you go.
Non-refundable. Yeah, I'm just looking to see if there's like a little check or a little tiny writing that says you get nothing if we don't make the full amount. I mean, they're giving me 15 out of $49, so why not 15 out of 25? They're hoping that you're not going to die and you'll keep staying in the ARRL. So yeah, what you could do is let me know if you do want to join. All you have to do is fill out that application, and then when it comes to the payment, I'll find your application, I'll see your name on it, and then I'll email you a PayPal invoice, and you can just pay by PayPal invoice. Does that make sense? And
Now, I don't have a PayPal account, but if I
you
set
don't need
it
it.
up.
You can use credit card on PayPal.
Okay, can I do that then?
Yeah, you
What's
should
his
be
name
able
on it?
to. I think if I send you a PayPal invoice, when you go to pay it, it'll say, do you want to pay by account or by PayPal, or by credit card or debit?
Okay,
And if that doesn't work, just let me know and I'll figure it out.
yeah, we can do that, that would be good. I think it would be good for us to get set up with that.
Yeah, and I think it's actually $26 through us because we charge for the PayPal fee. And the only reason we do it, not because of the money, but we are the only place in the entire world that you can pay for ARRL dues through PayPal. It's not possible anywhere else in the world. So we get people from France and Germany and everywhere around the world emailing us, or not emailing, but filling out that form. I've just been informed they ran out of dinner. She said, my wife says, quote unquote, I regret to inform you that we have just run out of dinner.
So you're on your own.
Yeah. So anyhow,
Told you why you got time to pick something else.
that's exactly why she did that.
Yeah.
Anyhow, so yeah, I'm either way I can submit it for you. It doesn't matter. If we get nothing, I'm not going to worry about it. But the fee on $25 is, yeah, it's like not quite 90 cents. So it would be either $25.50 or $25.75 or something like that. Whatever but yeah, we provide that service because there are so many people who don't want to pay on credit card, they want to pay on PayPal, but there is nowhere else in the world to pay by PayPal. Even ARRL doesn't accept PayPal. We're the only place. So you'd be surprised how many people actually use our website to pay for their dues.
So if they're a first-time member, you still get the commission?
Yeah,
Oh, that's
Yeah.
a worldwide operation going.
yeah, but you know, it's like when I say you'd be surprised, I mean, you know, we get 2 a month.
You'd be surprised how few there are.
Yeah, you'd be surprised how few there are. It's like 2 a month, you know.
Yeah, well,
But there'll be, I
a
gotta,
Starbucks room once a year.
last month, or no, the month before last, we had 2 people renew their dues. And both of them wanted 5-year memberships. And one of them was 93. And I called him on the phone and I'm like, I can't do a 5-year, I can only do up to a 3-year. And he said to me, oh, that's all right, just make it 1 year, I'll be fine. And he says, I'm an old fogey anyway, you know, I'm as old as they get, don't laugh, but I'm 93. And I was like, hey, you know, if you're going for 5 years, then you got the right attitude. And then somebody else signed up and they were 96. And he wanted a 5-year renewal too.
Wow.
And I called him on the phone. He says, "Oh, I'm an old guy, you know," because I had to tell him the same thing. I can only do 3 years. And he says, "Like, I'm an old guy. You know, I'm 96." And I thought, man, God bless you that you think, you know, 5 years later you're still kicking hard enough to read that magazine. Actually, you know, it was the 96-year-old that did it first. Then it was the 93, because I remember the 93 told me, you know, I'm an old fogey. Don't laugh, but I'm 93 years old. And he says, you probably never got anybody this old. I said, no, as a matter of fact, I just called another guy who was 96, and he was trying to get a 5-year. So I guess, you know what it is it's that wishful thinking. When you're at that age, you figure if you hit a 5-year subscription, then you gotta live for 5 years. You need to collect your whole 5 years, right? So in any case, yeah, we get about 2 a month. It's not a great deal, but it's more than most clubs because we take a payment form that nobody else takes. Because all the rest of the people that want to use credit card, they'll just go right to ARRL. So it's the old guys that want to use PayPal because they don't trust anybody with their credit card number. That's what it is. You know, that's usually what I find. Or they're out of the country and they can't use a foreign credit card with ARRL, so they pay by PayPal because they can use the credit card with PayPal. And in their case, we lose money because it actually costs 4 3/4% for the charge, the fees, PayPal fees, and we only charge 2%. So, you know, in a foreign transaction, we actually lose like 50 cents on the deal, but we're still providing a service, and that's what the club's about anyway. It's not like the Morse Code Club makes money either. You know, the key that I give you in the course is a $50 key. Actually, now I think it's with shipping and tax, it's like $62, and the course costs $50, and you get the key. So basically, you're walking away for, $12 less than you'd pay for the key alone, and you're getting a 20-hour course. It's not a bad deal in the end.
That's incredible,
Yeah.
And on field day, at first we went to the N610A club.
Oh, yeah.
And
Mhm.
then we went over to your club for
Yeah.
2 hours. And they were talking about how, like, we got to talking about Morse code, and they were talking about how great your class is.
Yeah, I think we've had a whole bunch of people from that club come through our class, and we've had
It's the only
3.
class in town, isn't it?
It's the only class west of the Rocky Mountains.
Really?
In person. Obviously, there's online stuff, but yeah, we're the only club that teaches an in-person class, or I should say a regular, because once in a while I've written that outline and I've sent it to a few clubs, and I know of one other club, like Tom's Club down in Thousand Oaks. They tried to do a Morse code class, and it was a hit or miss class from what I saw in the video. And he taught it on a computer, I believe, as opposed to hand key. So, he didn't really follow the outline. I don't know how the people did. I think it was more geared towards receiving than sending. But can't knock them for trying, There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, as far as I know, I haven't found any other clubs or places west of the Rocky Mountains that teach it in person. The next one I know of is in Texas, and then the next one after that is in Michigan, and then there's another one in New Jersey. So that's about it.
And then I also heard that I think you told me this actually. A lot of people, or a lot of Morse code classes teach you about receiving because
Yeah.
before the requirements were
Right.
just translate.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying also. I don't know of any other Morse code class that focuses on sending. It's almost 99.9% receiving for the other guys, because the principle hasn't really hit them of how you learn Morse code. It's like any language. If you can speak it, then you must be able to understand it. But if I taught you how to understand it and then said, okay, write this down, how would you know how to spell anything? You wouldn't know how to write anything down. So the principle of sending is also the same for receiving. There's going to be a delay because you have to learn to process the code in your ear and then translate it into a letter. So you'll always send faster than you will receive, and I tell that to the people in the class.
Also, I heard on a YouTube video that for learning Morse code, you should try and start at 20 words per minute because it makes all the sounds it's because if you learn it really really slowly, you're just learning the mental picture.
Yeah.
So it's
Back when we started learning code, the requirement was 5 words per minute, and they taught the code 5 words per minute. So it was very slow and difficult to increase your speed. So what you're talking about is called Farnsworth. The characters come at you at 15 to 20 words per minute, but the spacing starts at 5 words per minute. So you would have the same space you would have relative to going 5 words per minute code, but instead of having the code continue for that whole length of time, you now have a quick character with a huge space. And that way you've learned to copy the character at a fast speed, and all you have to do is start removing the space in between.
So do you teach it like that?
Yes. Yeah.
It's called Farnsworth.
It's called Farnsworth method, yeah. And there's another guy who teaches that method, a different name. I can't remember, Kaspersky or something like that. And, but anybody who knows how to teach code will do that. It's the only logical way to teach code because, again, you only have to remove the space from the characters in order to increase the speed. So if you can identify an F, did it, okay, if I send an F at 5 words a minute, it's Did-did-da-dit. Did-did-da-dit. That's like maybe even faster. That might be like 8 words a minute. So imagine that even slowed down. But if you learn it at 15, did-it-da-dit, did-it-da-dit, did-it-da-dit. If you learn that and you can recognize that did-it-da-dit is an F, if I send it to you at that 5 word per minute spacing, it's did-it-da-dit, 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 did-it-da-dit. So you have plenty of time to decode it. And then all I do is to start removing the space. Did-it-da-dit, 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 and now you're at 15 words a minute. And you haven't had to learn the code over again. Because it's like another language. Every time you'd have to go from 5 words per minute to 13 words per minute to 20 words per minute. Those were the requirement speeds. It was like learning the whole language all over again. Because what used to be did-it-da-dit became did-it-da-dit. They're not the same thing. One is, a whole different sound than the other. So it's basically like learning, it's more like an accent. It's not the whole language, but it's like if you went down into Oklahoma or worse, go into Louisiana and listen to somebody speaking with the Cajun accent. You're like, that guy is not speaking English. But, he's speaking English. It just doesn't sound like anything you've ever heard.
Or England.
Yeah, kind of. Or probably Ireland would be a better
Yeah,
example.
yeah.
That's a little harder.
England, they just use the words for different things.
Right, yeah, just different
Scotland.
words.
Oh my God.
Scotland, yeah, that's the same thing. Ireland, Scotland, it would be the same thing. You're speaking the same language, but you don't understand what they're saying. So that's what happens is you get, wow, it finally went off. We've hit 71 degrees, and it's 5 minutes after the close of the meeting. So, yeah, it becomes a different language, so there's no point in teaching it that way because then you have to develop the languages all the way up to the proper speed. So, yeah, everybody teaches Farnsworth. Anybody who's anybody will teach at Farnsworth. Nobody teaches.
Quick question on the Morse code. So, when learning the code, there's letters and there's numbers. Are there other collections of
There's a few.
dids and dots for specific?
So you have punctuation,
Okay.
period, da-da, comma, da-da, da-da-da-da, equal sign, da-da-da-da-da.
So there are some symbols.
Slant
there.
bar, da-da-da-da-da. There's other things,
Letters, numbers, and some punctuation.
Yeah, and then there's things called prosigns where they have a meaning, like da-da-da-da-da means break. Like if you're reading an old telegram, we just got to Oklahoma, stop. It's that word stop.
Right, okay.
So it has a meaning.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so those are called prosigns. So yeah, there's not just letters and numbers, punctuation and symbols, and then you have prosigns. But there's very few prosigns. There's maybe 5 that you need to know, if that. And even if you didn't know but 2 of them, I think you could survive getting on the air. You'll learn them. It's like a comma. I tell people in the class, when somebody sends you their city and state, they'll usually put a comma in between. The way I tell people is, once you've sent the city, if you hear something that you can't figure out what the heck the guy is trying to say, and then all of a sudden he says CA, well, he probably sent you a comma. So eventually you're going to learn that thing in between the 2 things you understood is a comma. And then you'll get used to hearing it, and then you'll know, okay, he's sending me a comma. And then you'll understand it eventually where it's da-da, da-da-da, and you'll be like, okay, there's that comma. So there's a lot of things that you just learn by absorption. You don't have to memorize everything. You just need to be aware that they're coming, and then you'll eventually learn them.
Yeah, plus Mike gives you a script,
Yeah.
and that's gold. You just follow that script, and what's really interesting is I took the class in 2016, I think. So I've been at this for 5 years, and I'm still learning a lot. I have a lot longer ways to go. But what I was going to say is that script
creates these boundaries that pretty much
The sun's calling you.
most of the people are communicating using that script in some form or another. So it's really not a frightening experience, you know. Just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it.
And then my friends, one of my friends is Isaiah. His name is Isaiah. And he does not have a license, but he is interested in like studying to get his technician license and learn some Morse code.
Sure.
But his next door neighbor has like a super decked out like
Antenna tower. What is it? A 4-element Yagi?
and it's like there's like several different like that one on the top's like probably like
Show Andrew. He'll tell you what they are.
it's like a decked out.
Here, show Andrew next to you.
So that's why you want to go
The other way.
60 feet.
Yeah, you guys are gonna need to go taller.
Yeah, it looks like
Yeah.
a 40-meter Yagi and a 20-meter Yagi.
Yeah,
I bet the one at the very top like
Yeah.
probably a 2-meter or
Well,
something.
just go full power, and then
like a very
they'll know that you're on the air.
So there's 3 layers, 3 levels, and each one is slightly different.
Nice thing about CW, people don't even know what it is, and it does interrupt.
Yeah, right.
But he had no clue.
Yeah. Fortunately, though, we don't have to worry about that. So I will reserve my son index for next month, so we'll have an even bigger crowd. And of course, you're welcome to come back next month as well.
Next month, okay.
Yeah.
Is there somebody, if I have some questions in the interim, I can call or chat with, or is that just once a month?
You can email the club.
As well? Okay.
Yeah, somebody will answer
Those
you.
are the 2-meter
I
antenna.
can't imagine who, but there's always somebody checking that email.
Send it to
I'm
admin at W6SFM.com.
Yeah, or just go to the contact us at the top of the page here.
The administrator will.
See it here?
will
It- Right here is contact us.
Contact us.
And you just fill out this form under, so
Yeah,
about W6SFM.
It's a guy in India.
Yeah, it's Apu in India. He'll take care of you.
His name's Fred.
We gotta get going, I've got some young.
The meeting ended 10 minutes ago.
Right, so thank you so much, I've learned a lot, and I'm hoping I can do this,
You'll get your system set up. It's not difficult.
Hey, grab a strawberry croissant on your way out.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
look at that. I didn't know you brought snacks.
Yeah.
I would have taken a break if I knew you brought snacks.
You gotta pay attention to these things when he walks in.
Well, usually I can smell out a snack.
Thank you.
I'm actually a percussionist, so I kind of,
You do real well with Morse code
Yeah, I
then.
have an affection for Morse code on that.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna take one, I think.
Take 2, they're small, I was told not to bring them home.
Well, I'll take one since I didn't get a dinner. All right, everybody on YouTube, thank you for joining us. We will see you next month, same time, same time, same place, I suppose I can say that. First Thursday of the month. We will be here in person, so don't miss out. This is where it's at. You can see these are all the cool people. This is where the cool kids are.
Nice to
So
meet you, everybody, thanks.
Your name was
we'll see you next month.
what was your name again?
Mike,
Thank you guys.
you are very welcome. We'll see you next month, I hope.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
All right, so there it is. In any case, like I said, I will cover the Sun Index report next month. It's only going to get better. So I saw it was yesterday. It was like 73, so it wasn't up in the 90s or anything, but it's been going up and down. And according to Chris, AI6U, he said that.
He's sitting right there.
I know. He said that next month, or he said October, it's going to hit 90 and start going up real fast.
Wow.
So, but
So get your stations ready.
yeah. So get your stations ready. That's Chris's prediction.
For 160 meters.
Yeah. And then as far as sessions, we had 4 sessions with 39 people checking in and 7 online last month. So that's what we had for that, and there it is. So I hope to see everybody back and bring a friend. All right.
Okay.
So there it is.
Croissant.
Thank you and
Grab a croissant.
good night.